Welcome, the 8th of the 8th, 2021, the 8th month in 2021. And yes, you can still achieve some dreams and some goals that you are aspiring to for 2021, or you had on your vision board, or you didn't have, but suddenly want to acquire those. Some may happen now, some may take a little time, but you can start in 2021 towards those steps in achieving those goals. And one of them that is very important is owning your own home. For those of you who are joining in for the very first time, my name is Shernit Clark. I am a licensed financial advisor here in the beautiful island of Jamaica. And for those of you who have always join or watch the videos from time to time, welcome again. Thank you for joining me this and every Sunday right here on the iconic channel, 4 p.m. on Sundays, every Sunday. Now, I just want to make sure that my viewers are aware on Facebook that we have started. So I want to make sure that the audio is good, etc., etc. And I will just get started as soon as that is. Let me make sure. Yes. And I think I'm good. So let me share it now to those persons, because of course I'm normally on YouTube and Facebook before, and then there are some persons who aren't aware of the move, and some persons don't remember the move, and I'm compelled to remind them, and sometimes I'm also reminded to make sure that I do the post so they don't forget. So of course, important message today. Happy Emancipation it was post, well, belated, and also for persons who celebrated independence for whatever reason. Independence of what? Happy independence. And also we had functions and we had the Olympics, and of course Jamaica did well, 1, 2, 3 at some point, and we are proud of our athletes. I am proud of our athletes, and I want to congratulate every one of them, those who receive a medal, those who qualified for the Olympics and you didn't get a medal, but of course you were at the Olympics, and it is a hallmark in terms of your career. So we want to congratulate all of them, salute them, and also encourage them. Jamaica, please, no matter with the bashing thing, man. Some of us haven't even accomplished anything yet still we can have a run for save our life. And it is hard work, so we want to congratulate them. Remember to observe the protocols based on the statistics, based on the news. The cases are rising in our island. So I want you to remember to observe the protocols and be responsible. So while observing them, we need to also be responsible with the events that we're attending. I am not seeing them being observed, nor persons wearing their masks, nor social distancing. So we have to prepare ourselves for more cases. And for those of you who have taken the vaccine, kudos to you. For those you who have not, kudos to you. I think it should be a personal decision, quite frankly. Now, let's get into the meat of the matter for today's live. You know, when I am alone, it's about 15 to 20 minutes or so, not over the 30 minutes. And of course, I'll be going through the steps. I found some information for you. Oh, yes. And I am going to be starting now. The key to owning a home is that I remember when I was going after mine that it didn't take a month, didn't take a year. It took about 3 years. And in buying a home, it is very important. It's a milestone for anyone, but it can be intimidating when you're not sure what to expect. And in these uncertain times of higher list prices and low rates, the decision to buy a house may feel even more overwhelming, yet pressuring at the same time. So I would also highlight that, guys, if you can get a real estate agent to assist you with the process, if you're a buyer, they can get deals in terms of negotiating, and if you're a seller, the same. And of course, they can spend the time looking and you spend the time viewing, and in terms of where it is that you want to purchase and the cost, etc., associated with it, then they can do those, because it's going to take a lot. It's a lot of work. This is a lifetime decision, and of course, you want to make sure that you're making the best decision. Now, before you begin the process of buying a house, you want to make sure that you have proper credit score. So So you want to make sure that you're in a position to take on this significant milestone. And that's why the first step is to make sure that you check your credit scores, you're reviewing your finances. And I have done in previous lives where we have done the budgeting aspect. You check all sources of income. So we come back to square one, and your expenses, your reoccurring expenses, you're going to make sure that everything now is factored in, not just your grocery bills, not just your car loan, but you're going to have to factor in everything to make sure that it is that you are able to deposit on this home. Now, obtaining a loan is not always an easy feat either. All mortgage lenders will look at your credit score and your financial history before agreeing to providing you with a loan. So it can be helpful to be one step ahead of them. So, they want to know if they should lend you your money, how it is that you have been paying previous loan, if you're a good creditor, if it is that you were paying badly, and if you were, steps to fixing those so that you're not in a comfortable position. It is always important that you understand how the credit score works. And of course, the credit bureau here, you're able to get a printout and to see how you look before you, you approach a lender. Now, the other step is save for down payment and the closing cost. Of course, you may be seeking a mortgage in terms of the loan, but the mortgage may spread out in terms of the cost of buying a house over many years. So if you're seeking 20, 30, 40 years, but you still need to provide some money upfront to pay on the down payment and also the closing costs. There are some lending institutions that may give you a special in terms of the closing costs, but you normally have to find some may offer a 5%, I know for the NHT deposit, a 10%, for some 15, 20, and it depends on who the developer is. Now, unless you're getting some loan assistance, neither of which a down payment, if you don't require that, as I said before, and hardly any of them don't require down payment, you will need to make sure that you have the funds saved up. So remember, we have been speaking about consistent saving and investing for opportunities like these where you're able to invest in purchasing a land or a home, that you would have had those in place. And if you don't have it in place, we need to start now so that when you're ready to purchase the house, that you have that deposit available, whether it is 3%, 3.5, 5%, or 10%. Keep in mind that the larger the down payment, the more equity you will have, and the lower your monthly mortgage payments will be. So the upfront money, similarly to a car loan, the more you deposit is the less you will have to pay at the back end. By paying more upfront, you will save sometimes on interest and be less likely to pay private in mortgage insurance that is in the US. And experts normally recommend that you put down about 20% if you can find it, considering a larger down payment, as that minimizes and avoiding larger payments, as I said before, at the back end. Your closing costs, along with your down payment, as I said before, there are certain mortgage companies that may give you a special, it may be a special that they're doing that particular year or month where they do the closing cost. But normally you have to think about that. And sometimes we have to think about escalation costs too, because sometimes when these developers start building these properties and you would have deposited, by the time they're done building, you hear that material had increased and this had increased, and there's an additional cost to that property. So you have to think about those. Now, while you're processing a loan, although the amount you will need will vary depending on your loan amount, that the tax requirements in your area, you can generally expect a closing cost between 3 to 6%. Some may go up to 10, as I said, based on escalation costs. So to ensure that you know exactly what you'll owe, your lender will provide you with a loan estimate within a couple of days, some depending on how soon you furnish the information. And in terms of your loan application. Now, this next step is step 3. Determine how much home you can afford. So is it that I'm going to do a starter home, maybe a studio, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, or depending on the size of my family, I may need a minimum of 2 bedrooms, depending on I may need a home office, depending on how much do you want, and then how much do you want will be based on how much you can afford also. So before you speak with your mortgage lender, it is useful to calculate how much house you can afford on your own. A lender will tell you how much money you qualify for, but you want to make sure you won't be overextending yourself by determining your budget. So we come right back to budget. So when you can work out the budget, you don't overspend or feel overwhelmed and overextend yourself. And remember, sometimes it is not the dream home or the ideal home. Some of these homes are starter homes. Some of you may be also purchasing a second home for the purpose of income or towards your retirement. So sometimes you don't have to overextend yourself, and you can gradually build on that. Or in terms of the size of the land, and you know that you're able to expand in the future. So by determining how much house you can afford, you should use the 28 to 36 rule of the thumb. So which stipulates that you should not spend more than 28% of your gross monthly income, your salary before taxes, that is on housing expenses, and 36% on your total monthly debt payments. So we can do that another time in terms of working that out. So your principal, of course, the money that you borrow to purchase the home, you need to consider. The interest is a fee that the lender charges you to borrow the funds. And of course, you need to think about your taxes, that is requirement based on where you live, city, state, parish, country, etc. And of course, if there's insurance, homeowners insurance that protects your home against any damages. Now here in Jamaica, I know by law, you're supposed to have an insurance with the policy. And I encourage you from time and time again that the credit for life insurance policies reduces with your mortgage payments. Now, if you are a mom like me, or if you have a family, husband, wife, whomever, and you're going to be taking out a loan, you want to make sure that if there is premature death or a disability of any kind, that there is insurance to pay off the creditors, that your families don't have to force sell the property or they're left out in the cold. So I encourage insurance from a financial and insurance company like my company, that when it is that, let's say you took out a mortgage for 25 million, so you take out an insurance for 25 million every year. Every time that you pay, the mortgage is reduced, the insurance stays in place. So let's say you have paid off 10 of that 25 million, so 15 million would have been left. In the event of death, the $15 million is paid to the creditors by the insurance company first, so that 15 million is covered. Don't leave a burden on your family. And then the remaining 10 million will be paid to your beneficiary or beneficiaries, so you know they can stand on their feet for a few months until they're able to get back on their feet, especially if you are the main breadwinner, especially if there are children in school or university, they can continue their studies with you being gone. Now, of course, but once you have determined how much you can afford, be sure to consider the lifestyle that you want to maintain and leave yourself a cushion in case of emergencies. And we speak about emergency fund. Don't forget about things like retirement. Make sure you have your retirement planning for it. So we're not saying when you're purchasing a home, you're going to cancel these stuff. These stuff are in place. College funds and family vacations in your budget planning. So we move on to step 4. Let me see if there are any comments or questions so far. Let me check. Not seeing any, but welcome for those of you who may have joined after the welcome. Step 4. Many buyers don't realize that they can and should shop around for lenders before choosing one. So you want to make sure that you're looking at all the the mortgage houses. Make sure that you check them out. You check out what interest you're going to be paying back. If there are any bonuses, if there are any balloon effects after you're done, whatever the fine print, make sure that you know what you're getting into. Ask all the questions, do your due diligence, make sure that it's beneficial to you, make sure that you're getting the best deal for your money, right? So there can be variations in interest rates, terms, and closing costs that each lender offers, which is why it is essential to do your homework. So do your due diligence. The loan estimate, when comparing different lenders, you should ask each one to provide you with a loan estimate, which as discussed above, will spell out the loan terms, projected payments, and closing costs for your potential mortgage. And this form is provided in a universal format. So meaning that it will allow you to clearly see the differences between what each lender is willing to offer you. So of course, customer service is important. So one crucial factor that is not included in a loan estimate is customer service. Getting mortgage and making payments is not always an easy process. Unfortunately, there may be hiccups and along the way, which is why you want to have a lender that can make mortgage process as simple and convenient. And when you have a financial advisor like me, when you're thinking about your mortgage, the person I'm lining you up with, I am communicating with them in terms of your insurance, in terms how is it going, have you found anything, to make sure that the process, you know, that somebody is behind you, somebody is, you know, rooting for you to make sure that you get what is it that you want. So the ideal mortgage lender will guide you through each step of the way, make you feel comfortable, ask you questions, and respond with a sense of urgency. So anybody that I have recommended a mortgager to or a realtor to, and if it is not going well, I said to them, well, how is the relationship? How is the chemistry? Would you like someone else? And of course, if it is going well, then they continue on that path. But I want to make sure that the process, because it can be tedious, it can be frustrating, it can be a turn off, that you are comfortable. It is also important to be aware that in addition to the credit score requirements mentioned above, most lenders have their own guidelines you will likely need to fulfill to be approved for a mortgage with them. So keep in mind, these are general guidelines and may vary depending on your lender and what type of loan. So of course, proof of reliable source of income, good credit history, and your debt income ratio. Normally it has to be below 50%. So you have to bear those in mind. And if you meet only the minimum requirements, you may want to work on improving your credit score and reducing debt before applying for a mortgage. So as this can get you access to better rates and or increase your budget flexibility. Right? Step 4, get pre-approved for a loan. So before you're ready, these are stuff that you will do that will make the process a little smoother. So contrary to your popular belief, getting a pre-qualified for a loan, it is not guaranteed that you'll actually be able to obtain the loan. So when you get pre-qualified, lenders will only estimate your finances based on the information you provide. So you can get pre-approved, and then you know that a pre-qualified approval, which provides an estimate of what you can afford based on your credit report as well as the information you provide them with. So a verified approval now, which goes a step further to verify your income and your assets by allowing us to verify your information you're provided with, the assurance that you'll be able to obtain a loan. So you need to be aware and the documents that are going to be provided. So now you need to find the right real estate agent, where I also can come in, as I said before, to make sure that there's some chemistry, to make sure that the agent understands what is it that you're looking for, if you're buying, if you're selling, if you're renting. Well, in this case, we're talking about home ownership, so it's buying. So you want to make sure that that person understands you, that you build that trust and that relationship, that they feel as if they're actually shopping for themselves when shopping for you. So they have your best interest at heart. So there are some buyers who decide that they don't want to work with a real estate agent, but that is often a huge mistake. A real estate agent will represent you throughout the home buying process to ensure that you find the right home, ask the important questions, make an appropriate offer, and have the power to negotiate and receive the necessary disclosure. So as I said before, you want them to be working as if they purchased their home. Real estate agents take the stress out of the experience, providing buyers with knowledge of the market and the skills and negotiation process. Furthermore, agents' expertise and skill are provided to buyers without a charge. Well, they know that the advice is really not what they're charging you for. Is when they make sure that they get the property for you. That is when they're paid. All right, so they're paid basically on commission based on the sale of the property. And of course, you will have those discussions with the agent. How is it that they're paid? The way to find a good agent is asking the right questions. Some question you ask is, how long have you been working as a real estate agent? What makes you different from other agents? How many customer clients are you currently working with? What experience do you have finding homes in my price range? How knowledgeable are you about my desired area? Are you willing to provide me with references? So those are the questions you would want to ask your agent. And of course, step 7, determine your priorities. Once you have determined how much you can afford to spend on a home and have found the right agent to help you through the process, you should start to talk to your agent about what your ideal home looks like. During this time, you should consider location, type, lot size, of course, bedrooms, bathroom, how many, age and conditions, which is, are you willing to work on the home that you're trying to purchase? If it is that you want something new, or you want something that you can afford but able to work with some improvements to make it into what you want it to be. Then after all of that, the home hunting process starts. Now, after you have settled on your priorities and have clearly communicated them to your real estate agent, it is time to start the house hunting, which is exciting. It was exciting to me, and trust me, it is. I love to look at homes. I love to look at the homes at, the stage of, especially the new ones, how to decorate, how to stage your furniture. I love it. As you browse the listing, your real estate agent sends you, keep your priorities at the back of your mind. Remember, it is highly unlikely that any listing will perfectly match your dream home. So try not to be so picky until you see the listing in person. So you'll find that the more houses you see is the wider you'll find. So more start blend together. So you try to organize and make sure that you talk through the things you like and dislike. So the more you see, the wider the range, and you're able to select. So the neighborhood that the home is in, what your commute would be like in terms of home, and if you have children, school, are there schools around in the neighborhood, and where the closest grocery store, pharmacy located, things that you would need, the market, whatever it is. So you're touring the house now, looking at plumbing, electrical, poor installation problems or issues with the foundation. You check all of those stuff, visible water damage or ceiling or walls. If there are any issues with presence of rodents, lead paint or carbon monoxide, all of those stuff. And some of those stuff your agent will be off and able to see them visibly and probably to inform you of what is happening. So although a house is in a poorer condition, it may seem like a steal. Remember that you're the one who will be left to make those repairs. Even homes with outdated appliances can be a nuisance because you're the one who will ultimately have to pay to replace them. So try to be as realistic as possible when you view each house, and be thoughtful about considering you're willing to live with what it is that your budget is offering you. So then you can make your offers in terms of if that is the ideal home, and you make sure you do the requisite stuff in terms of if an evaluation needs to be done, inspection, etc. So you get an inspection done. That would be step 10. Make sure the home is, as I said, valued. That would be step 11. And then at this point in time, step 12 would be closing on the home. So before closing on the home, you want to make sure that you do a walkthrough of the property with your real estate agent and make sure everything is in order. So after we have gone through all of that, because trust me, when you're excited, sometimes you don't see some of the flaws. And sometimes I remember when I was purchasing my home, I was buying an 8-year-old home at the time for 7.5 million. When I could get a new home with newer amenities for 6.5 million, same 2-bedroom, different location. I prefer the newer home location in terms of 24-hour security, how they operated. So you have to make sure that that's really ideally what you want. I actually went ahead and did the evaluation on the older home, which was 7.5 million. And on the day that the evaluator was dropping off the documents, I got the offer for the new home, the newer home. So I lost about $30,000. That was in 2009 because I chose a newer property for one, would have paid 1 million less. But you have to make that decision on your own, because the older home could be your ideal community, or in terms of where your amenities, supermarkets, whatever, you have to decide which one is ideal for you, and then you make that choice. So you want to make sure that you do that last walkthrough of the property. If the seller agreed to make any repairs, the walkthrough is the time to ensure that the seller actually completed them. Now, then you can review your closing disclosure. It will outline the terms, final closing costs, and any outstanding charges or fees included in your loan. Your lender will send the disclosure to you at least a couple of days before the closing, sometimes 3 days. During the closing, of course, you know that title and closing agent will oversee this process, which it typically takes, title company, management firm, escrow office, and so on, so on. And those will also include for overseas. The closing agent will also ensure that all necessary parties are present at the closing. The agent acts as a mediator between you and the seller and confirms that all required documents are signed. Once documents have been signed, the agent will ensure that all funds, including the closing fees, are paid and properly disbursed. So during your closing, you have two major responsibilities. The two major responsibilities is signing legal documents. So these may include this closing disclosure, promissory note, deed of trust, and certificate of occupancy. Different stuff, different countries, different states, and paying your closing costs will be step 2. This may include fees for your mortgage application, appraisal, survey, title, etc., etc., and of course taxes, insurance, premium, etc. And various companies may have different time frame in which the loan is approved. Sometimes you just need a letter of a commitment for the person that you're purchasing the house from, or the company developer that you're purchasing it from. So of course those process will be, have the different times. Now, while the home buying process can be confusing, the steps that I have given you will help you through that process. You can also email me at I'm going to place that email. That email is the how could I forget? I don't want to give out the one, but of course you can try me at Shernet_Clark@sagicor.com. But there's another one that is specific to this, and I'll put it in the comment section if you so desire. But of course, if you want to talk about the process, I'll be happy to help you with the insurance as it relates to getting the insurance for the loan, hooking up with a real estate agent, and making sure that that process is being carried out. And if it is that you are looking for a mortgager, of course, I can put you onto that person as well. I hope this information, you will find it informative and helpful in your process. Of course, I want to remind you to like the videos, please comment, and of course to subscribe to the channel, The Iconic Advisor. Remember to stay safe, stay focused, and stay strong. Observe your protocols. Guys, please enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I want to thank you once again for joining me. I so do intend to enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.